Everybody, welcome back to another episode of FSi DFS Fantasy Baseball Picks. I'm Russ Megro 31. Couple of notes before we begin today. Just wanted to remind you that fall's coming. We've got so many things coming on FSI here. Obviously, NHL and NBA will be back eventually, but NFL is coming back soon, and college football starts this weekend, and we'll be covering that. So go to the description of the video, and you can check out the link to our website. Check out all our pricing on that. And we have VIP packages for $6 a day and $25 a week. It's a really cheap way to get all the sports. So we have soccer going on, we have Major League Baseball going on, we have NASCAR going on. Where yesterday's race, I usually throw out who I think the 100K GPP drivers and the 3-driver core I gave out there finished first, second, and fourth. So and we're in the winning lineups. So hopefully some of the people that watch the video and some of the people that use the sheet. So uh, lots of good things going on here, so come check that out. Second thing is, I just want to say it was kind of a bittersweet day for FSI yesterday, where it was the 1 year anniversary of losing one of our owners and founders, Army Dragon Paul. And didn't do videos, so those of you who are just on a YouTube video channel probably don't know who he was, but he did a lot of stuff behind the scenes to the legal aspect and all the like numbers and accounting for FSI, and definitely miss him and think about him and his family. And but I just wanted to say thank you again. I said it in our Discord to our team came together and did some amazing things to keep this going for you. So just thank you to all of them, and thank you to all of you who supported us, which was through kind of a rough year, but we made it. We're still here, and we're looking to the future to carry on what Paul and Gator and others did to start this company and to start this channel and to keep things going, to try to help you all out with DFS so that you can continue to enjoy it, make a profit, and not get discouraged and give up right away. So with that, we've got a monster 13 game slate here for MLB. So we're going to jump into it. I'm just going to blow through some of these games because it's just going to be sensory overload if I try to cover absolutely everything. There's so many different ways to go. So the first game we have, and there's no weather issues, which is great too. Guardians and Yankees, wind blowing out 10 miles per hour, 69 degrees, should be decent hitting weather here. Matthew Boyd coming back from Tommy John surgery, and Luis Heel. I'm not really interested in either one of these pitchers. Yankees definitely with the wind blowing out. I know Judge and Soto haven't been have it's been 3 or 4 games before they've had a lot of production. They're up in the high 6K range, but still, I think that I don't like him against this lefty Boyd, especially with the wind blowing out at home. And Heel has been giving up a lot of power to lefties, and there's a lot of good lefties here in this Cleveland team. So Cleveland's my top GBP stack, and the Yankees are up there as the top stack for if you can get to them price wise. But there is some. I think I want to prioritize pitching, but you can get there, and we'll talk about that lineup both. Cincinnati and Toronto. At Toronto, Carlson Spears and Jose Barrios Spears. Again, I'm not interested in. Also, I think Toronto, he struggled with left-handed power too. And I think there's some bats that can get to him here on the Toronto side. And Barrios started season good, fell off. 3 out of his last 4 games have been almost 25 DK points. Really good. The only off one was against the Yankees, which is a hard matchup anyways for any pitcher when they're on. So I think I like Barrios here in the medium range, second favorite pitcher there. So, and the Reds do have a decent strikeout rate. So you can move this over a little bit so you can see that, since we don't have to worry about weather. So you can see the bullpens. But Cincinnati 24.3 K rate. So Blue Jays, I definitely like as one of my top cheap stacks here. Besides Vlad at 5.6, everybody else is 4.4 or less in the 3K and the 2K range. Very, very affordable and very, very effective. Especially Wagner, second baseman they called up. He's only 2.5, has been very productive for his price point. Cincinnati, I think you can definitely play, but I think I'm going to put them in the 150 max category. Baltimore and the Mets, wind blowing across the field at 13 miles per hour, slightly in potentially, which could make this pitcher's park even more pitcher friendly. But Kramer and Quintana, I just don't see the K. I don't see the upside, and I think both offenses could give each one trouble. So I'm not going to be playing them. They're in my 150 max GPP if I'm mass multi-entering pool. Not fades, but not really interested in them. That wise, Baltimore and Mets are going to be GPP stacks. I would stock them, not just play one-offs on them. So Slater leading off is usually cheap. So Slater, Santander, Henderson, you find lefty and lefty, Mountcastle and Jimenez. And then for the Mets, the lefty should be back in the lineup after facing a lefty yesterday, and most of them getting the day off. So Lindor, Winker, if Nemo is back, I know he's dealing with some injury issues there. Alonso's good, righty and righty. So I don't know if I go full five-man stack for the Mets, but you can definitely make it work in a GPP. Philadelphia and Atlanta, Zach Wheeler and Ronaldo Lopez coming back from the IL. Wheeler, I think, is going to be a top pitcher on the slate. Atlanta is snake bitten this year. They lost Acuna. They've lost Harris for a while. They lost Strider. Now Riley is going to be out through probably the rest of the regular season. Um, Albies is out too. It just this is a watered down version of what they used to be. Wheeler is a very good pitcher. It's going to be warm in Atlanta, 82 degrees, wind's blowing out, so it should be decent hitting conditions. But I look at this lineup and Harris leading off, and Ozuna Olson has been cold. Clinic has been hot and cold, but he's been better when leading off, not when he's buried in this lineup. The rest of them are pedestrian righties. So Wheeler probably either the top or second best pitcher on the slate here. Lopez, I'm not touching. Philadelphia, I think, makes a very compelling stack against him. He was struggling before he went out, and Philadelphia has the type of offense, if it can put together and click, should be able to go out there and put up some runs. 4.16, if that is what the total is, you might want to bet the over because they could definitely have a night. Atlanta is going to be your ultimate contrarian stack on the slate. Milwaukee and St. Louis, Frankie Montas, Fetty. For St. Louis, not interested in either side. I know St. Louis has been pretty bad at points, but I really like the matchup here. I know the wind's blowing a little bit, 6 miles per hour, but it's 75 degrees. I still think with Montas, I've seen him struggle so much at times. Not the elite pitcher he was back with the A's, like maybe 3, 4 years ago. So I'm not really going to be touching him. And Fetty, I think you can play, but Milwaukee can put up runs. I just looked at like trying to stack them, try to figure out like where I'd take it from. And they're the type of lineup where the production just comes and you sometimes just can't pinpoint it. So I'm fine playing Milwaukee as some cheap fill-ins, and St. Louis I like besides behind Toronto as my second favorite cheap stack on the slate. Pittsburgh and Texas, Keller and Bradford. I know there's comment in the slate about trusting Texas, and all of Texas didn't show up, but Corey Seager certainly did. I think he had like 30 or 40 DK points, 2 home runs, very productive evening, and it was enough, even with some of the other players not being as productive, to carry me in my cash games, and I did quite well there. So Keller's a no for me, and Corey Bradford, I think you can make a case for. He's been up and down, but this Pittsburgh lineup just hasn't been really productive. They only have a 3.7 total, so I think you can take some shots at Bradford here. Bat wise, like I said, Pitt's is going to be in 150 max, and Texas is my fourth favorite stack on the slate. Again, I'd probably stick with the lefties. I don't know if I'd play Simeon up top at 4.8, but give me Seager, give me Smith, give me Adolis Garcia, who's been doing better recently, and Lowe. Probably stick with those four. Maybe wrap around with Heimer or Traveris. I like doing that sometimes. Detroit at Chicago, wind blowing at 11 miles per hour, so it's definitely going to be a pitching slate. I've seen some different pitchers for Detroit. Don't like any of them, so they're all going to be fade. Currently, it has Brisky. Um, Side on the other side has only been like the single digits for DK points, but I think Detroit is a great matchup. There's strikeouts there, 27.2% K rate, fourth worst in Major League Baseball. Wind blowing in, I think Assad can get enough done here to definitely be considered in the cheaper range at 6.9 for his salary. Detroit is going to be a leverage stack because I think Assad might have some ownership if people put it together that there's win there and Detroit struck out. And then Chicago Cubs, just not a hitting environment, so they'd be in 150 bucks. Angels and Royals, Tyler Anderson, Cole Ragans. Tyler Anderson has been solid. The Royals have been hot. Not going to play Tyler Anderson this one. He's going to be on the bench. Cole Ragans on the other side. He and Wheeler, one of those two, are going to probably be a top pitcher on the slate. So Angels have. I like them better against left-handed. So if you want an alternate leverage stack here, I think the Braves are number one, but I think the Angels are going to be number two. Ward, Neto, Everdone is probably going to be back in the lineup. I just wish they DFS him or just move on from him. Just doesn't really seem to be productive. He's just a trap there. But Pilar has always been good against lefties. I hope you really like him. Adele, maybe he can snap out of his funk. And then you have a Jack Lopez at 2K that you can put in the stack there. So Angels, I will go back because they're against the lefty and start to play them. Miami's been more of my favorite everyday stack than the Angels recently, but I'm going to take some shots against the lefties in this one. And Kansas City is the second favorite uh, team to stack on the slate. The Yankees are number one, but pricing wise, Kansas City, if you're looking for a better point per dollar play, I would go with them. Next up, we have Boston and Houston, Pivetta and Blanco. Both pitchers here can be good, can struggle. I don't think I'm touching either one of them here. If you want to throw them in GPPs, I get it, but both these offenses could get to them. So Pivetta's been struggling with power, especially with lefties. So Alvarez is probably, if you're betting, going to be one of the best plays on the slate to try to go home run chasing or to take his one off if you have an extra 6K in your outfield. And then Boston, like, is going to go super heavy lefty here. So Duran, Abreu, Casas, Nevers, Yoshida, right there. It's your whole lineup. Even David Hamilton, if you want to put him in the party, mix things up a little bit, um, build a couple lineups. Just taking those six lefties and play them against Blanco could be very productive for you. So really like that build too. And like I said, Houston, Alvarez, I don't know if I'm going to get a full Houston stack in there. And looking at it, I looked at the run total, I think, when I was like putting the rankings there, but I might flip Boston and Houston because I think Pavetta's been reverse splits too at times. So I definitely can see you just stacking the top five there. If Bregman's not back in, then you're going to get another value piece in there, and it's going to work out pretty well for you. So you can play whoever fills in for him, or Myers is decent if you do, or Dubon if you're doing like a wraparound for a little bit of speed and power there. Twins and Padres, Ober and Martin Perez. Ober, he's been solid this season, but I don't know if I really want to play him against San Diego, who has risen to the best team with plate discipline, and they're only striking out a 14.5% rate at the last 14 days. So I don't think I really want to go there with Ober because it looks like there's no K upside. And Martin Perez, there's been time to play him recently, and it's worked out. And against lesser teams, but the Twins can hit. So I don't think I really want to play him here. Going to be a fade for me. And the bats, I think they both go in 150 max. The total in this game is 7.5. It's each team only has a 3.75 total. It favors the Twins just because Perez is a worse pitcher than Ober, but I don't know if there's going to be a lot of runs scored in this game. So it's in a pitcher's ballpark. So it's just going to 13 game slate. I'm going to fade it. Tampa Bay and Oakland, Baez and Estes. I was so wrong on the side. Well, in cash, I was wrong in some aspects where um, I stacked Bradley as my SP2 with a top pitcher on the slate, and it just didn't work out. The A's showed up and put up some runs on him, and he didn't do well. And on the other side, Boyd actually did really good, and I'm glad I had him in my GPPs. So that was really him with a Mets stack, and it worked out really well for that in a GPP. So I Estes, are people going to go back to the well here? I think possibly I have him in the cheap. Could it work out at 6.3? Could it give you some salary relief on this slate? Yeah, definitely. It's possible Tampa Bay does strike out, and Tampa Bay just doesn't have the same lineup they did after the trade deadline. But I mean, they do have some nice pieces here still. So I think you can play both these teams as like stacks or cheap fill-in stacks. So Tampa Bay side, you're gonna go Low, Dylan Carlson, probably, and then if you want to put like the Caballero and Camaro in there, it's like 3-9 and 3-1 that works. But I'd probably just take those three as like cheap fill-ins for it. In Oakland, the price is going up on some of them, but besides Rooker, like Butler's prices come down at 3.6. He still has the speed and the power potential there. Blade, Langoliers, Seth Brown, like you can make this work also. 70 degrees, so it's a little bit warmer in Oakland. That's been the last couple of nights, and the wind is blowing out, which doesn't really do too much in that ballpark, but it helps a little bit. White Sox and San Francisco Giants, we have Davis Martin and Robbie Ray. Davis Martin's been solid recently. His first couple starts, only went out for 3 innings. The last two, he's gone out for 5, and he's only given up 2 runs in the last 3 starts, and he's averaging about 5 strikeouts. So San Francisco is a good team, but like really nothing to write home about. It's been cooler in San Francisco at night, like 64 degrees. So it's not great hitting weather. Um, and then Robbie Ray on the other side is probably going to be chalk. I know he got blown up the last time, so people might be a little bit apprehensive and favor Reagans or Wheeler over him. But I think people will have kind of a short memory. They'll look and see it's the White Sox. They'll look and see the White Sox have a 2.79 total, which I think is egregiously low, even against Robbie Ray. So I don't think he's going to go Blake Snell and like throw a no hitter against them. So I think that you could probably maybe bet the over on the White Sox if you are betting in a parlay. And definitely Robbie Ray's a great play. But if things do go a little bit wrong, on a 13 game slate, a White Sox contrarian stack here against a potentially high owned pitcher could be a lot of leverage. So just keep that in mind if you're mass multi entering or doing like a 20 max, throw a White Sox stack out there just in case. And then you can probably get like Judge and Alvarez and like because they have a lot of position players they can fill in like Sosa and like you'd probably use Roberts in it, the righty there, but then you probably go Vaughn and probably go Vargas. So you'd be able to have like outfield positions and pay up for like pitching and kind of make a decent stack with that. So have some fun with that one. San Francisco, I think is you can always play him as a cheap if you think Martin's going to struggle, and then the bullpen behind him is pretty bad. It at least has over like a 4.74 ERA. And finally, last game on the slate, we have Seattle and the Dodgers. Bryce Miller and Walker Buehler. Bryce Miller is a solid pitcher, but the Dodgers, Freeman might be back in the lineup. They got Muncy back, they got Luck, so you just have too many lefties here against him that really don't want to play him. It's going to be 82 degrees in Los Angeles, which is much warmer than it usually is, and the wind blowing out 9 miles per hour should be a great hitting slate for them. So, fire up some Dodger stacks against Miller, but Miller kept him in the medium range, but because he is a good real life pitcher, but I don't think he's going to have success in this matchup. Walker Bueller has just been horrible, but maybe take a shot at him because he's against a Seattle team that just really strikes out a lot against right-handed pitching. So even though he's been bad, if he's given up like a home run in like I think the last 4 or 5 starts. So if you want to go home run hunting and take a Seattle players against him, that's great. But Cal Raleigh's probably the only one, maybe Polanco. You don't really have many lefties that I can think do a ton of damage against him. And then the Dodgers, like I said, love the lefties. I'd still throw Mookie Betts in there, so I'd probably go Otani, Betts, Freeman, Lux, Muncy for my stack. So we got. Let's look at some builds to get you on your way for your Tuesday. Like I said, we got a lot to cover here. So Wheeler or Reagan, and then I want to take Ray. So give me Horwitz, Wagner from the Blue Jays, and then I go in Kansas City, Witt, Renfro, Varsho. There are enough cheap Blue Jays and Royals to fill in to make this work. If a 2K catcher for Toronto does end up getting the start. Let's see, uh, what his name is. It would be Severn. If he's in, then you can definitely get Wheeler and Reagans in there if you want to skip over Ray. It will work for you. And then for GPP, Bradford and Barros is where I'm going. If you want to drop down to Martin to get a little extra salary, that's fine. I started out building Yankees here with St. Louis, and it worked out. And what you do is just move like Burleson to take out Naylor, and I think Burleson goes to like first base. And Donovan can go to the outfield, and then you can put in like Torres and Judge or Soto. I don't think you can get both of them, and then like probably Stanton in there and the catcher. Um, so you can go the Yankees, but then as I was looking at and building Yankees, it just I couldn't really find a third baseman I liked, and like I was just like a couple hundred off on like what really what I want to do. And then I looked at the other side, and I'm like, Heels really struggled. Cleveland, it's the same hitting conditions for them. It's a park upgrade. The wind's blowing out, so let's take the lefty power bats here. So I scrapped the Yankees. I threw in Cleveland. So you can go Josh Naylor at catcher. You can punt catcher if you for some relief there. If you can get up to Contreras, if you go down to Martin, that's fine too for the St. Louis side of it. So Naylor, Donovan, J. Rom, Wynn, Burleson, and then you can fill in with like Scott. He's like fast and has a little bit of pop and can steal bases, do kind of wraparound thing with St. Louis to pair with like Win, or you can probably go like Juan and Brennan there. So I got for you. If you have any questions, put them in chat below. Hit me at member 31 on Twitter or X. If you want more information on FSi DFS, like I said, go to the description of the video. Check out our packages. Got some really cool things coming up as fall starts to ramp up and all these sports come back. And if these videos help us back, like, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and share with your friends. So thanks for watching. Good luck in your contests. And I will be back on Friday. McKinley will have the next couple days. So hope you have a great Tuesday, and I'll see you next time.